The Spanish colonization of the Americas began in 1492 with Christopher Columbus's voyage, sponsored by the Catholic monarchs of Spain, Ferdinand II of Aragon, and Isabella I of Castile. Columbus reached the Americas on October 12, 1492, landing in the Bahamas. From that point, a process of exploration, conquest, and colonization unfolded over several centuries. Formally, the onset of Spanish colonization in Latin America can be identified with the founding of Santo Domingo on the island of Hispaniola in 1498. However, the process of conquest and colonization involved various regions of the American continent at different times. The Spanish colonization of Latin America can be divided into distinct periods, but the overall process spanned several centuries. Early 16th century, exploration and conquest of Central America and Mexico by figures like Hernán Cortés. The fall of the Aztec Empire in 1521 is a significant milestone in this phase. Mid-16th century, expansion southward into South America with the exploration of regions like Peru by Francisco Pizarro. Late 16th century and 17th century. Consolidation of colonies and establishment of colonial governments. Foundation of cities and development of colonial institutions. 18th century, strengthening of Spanish control and consolidation of colonies. However, sentiments of independence begin to emerge. Early 19th century. The process of independence gains momentum in Latin American colonies. Many nations achieve independence throughout the 19th century. 1821. Mexico gains independence from Spain. Therefore, the Spanish colonization of Latin America lasted for about 3 centuries, from the late 15th century to the 19th century, when colonies began to achieve independence. Mexico gained its independence from Spain in 1821. The movement for Mexican independence was led by figures such as Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla and José María Morelos, who led a series of rebellions against Spanish rule. On September 27, 1821, the Treaty of Córdoba was signed, securing Mexico's independence and ending Spanish dominion. This event marked the culmination of a long struggle for independence that began with Hidalgo's Grito de Dolores on September 16, 1810. The independence of Mexico is a significant event in the history of the region that led to the birth of the Mexican Republic. The process of independence unfolded in the context of the broader movements for autonomy in the American colonies during the 19th century. The Mexican independence movement began on September 16, 1810, with the famous speech known as the Grito de Dolores, delivered by the Catholic priest Miguel Hidalgo y Costilla. Hidalgo called for a rebellion against Spanish rule, marking the onset of the Mexican War of Independence. The struggle for independence continued for 11 years, involving various leaders and critical phases. After Hidalgo's death in 1811, other leaders such as José María Morelos, Ignacio Allende, and Agustín de Iturbide carried on the fight for independence. On September 27, 1821, the Plan of Iguala was signed, signaling the end of the war and guaranteeing Mexico's independence. Subsequently, on February 24, 1821, Emperor Agustín de Iturbide entered Mexico City, marking the triumph of independence. However, Iturbide's empire was short-lived as he abdicated in 1823, and Mexico became a republic. The first Mexican Constitution was promulgated in 1824, establishing the Federal Republic of the United Mexican States. The subsequent history of Mexico has been marked by periods of political instability, internal conflicts, and wars. But the birth of the Mexican Republic represents a pivotal moment in the country's history and the end of Spanish colonial rule. The Cristeros' rebellion was an armed conflict that took place in Mexico between 1926 and 1929. It was a response to the so-called Calles Law, or anti-religious law, enacted by Mexican President Plutarco Elias Calles in 1926. The law significantly restricted the influence of the Catholic Church in the country, prohibiting many public religious practices closing religious schools, and forbidding the clergy from active participation in politics. Supporters of the church and many Mexican Catholics strongly opposed this legislation, and the resistance turned into an armed rebellion, taking on the name Cristeros. The term Cristeros is derived from the Spanish word Cristo, meaning Christ. The rebellion mainly involved peasants and common people, many of whom were devout Catholics. The Cristeros fought to defend religious freedom and restore the Catholic Church to its previously influential role in Mexican society. The conflict led to violent clashes between government forces and Cristero rebels. In 1929, an agreement known as the Peace of Tlaxcala was reached between the parties involved, officially ending the rebellion. However, many of the anti-religious laws remained in effect for several years. The Cristeros' rebellion is considered a significant period in Mexican history and had a lasting impact on the relationship between the state and the church in the country. Although the conflict was resolved through negotiation, it left a lasting division in Mexican society between those who supported the anti-religious laws and those who sought to defend religious freedom. Mexico has an extensive coastline along the Pacific Ocean, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Caribbean Sea. Some important coastal cities include Acapulco, Cancun, and Veracruz. Climate. Mexico experiences a wide variety of climates due to its diverse topography, ranging from tropical climates on the coasts to temperate climates in the highlands and deserts in the north. Mexico is one of the countries with the highest biodiversity globally, hosting a wide variety of plant and animal species, many of which are endemic. Major cities. Mexico City is the capital and the largest city in Mexico. Other important cities include Guadalajara, Monterrey, Puebla, and Guanajuato. Natural resources. Mexico is rich in natural resources, including petroleum, silver, copper, and other minerals. Mexican geography is diverse and plays a crucial role in the country's history, culture, and economy.